Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. Yes, in this week's video I'm sort of asking the question, if you were to have a blowout on your caravan, would you have everything that you need to be able to resolve the situation and go on your way, or have some kind of recovery service available to you so you're not left stranded? Now, when I was asking that question to myself, it wasn't until I actually got thinking about it, and the answer for that for me was no. So I sort of then started thinking about the different scenarios, situations I might be in, and things that I would need to be able to sort of make sure that I was able to sort of carry on, or give us the best chance of doing so. Now, hopefully you don't ever find yourself in this situation, but like I say, you have to be prepared for when it does actually happen. And I've got a friend who's actually been through this situation not too long ago. And again, it's probably that's what got me thinking about exactly what would I do in that situation. Now, if it was to happen, I think in your mindset, oh, it's going to be a lovely sunny day and it's going to be really easy to change. But again, we all know that that might not be the situation. It may be dark, it may be raining. And then thinking about those different scenarios, do you still then have the items available to you that normally you would probably have in your house, but do you have them with you in the situation of when you're travelling? And I think that's just where you need to start thinking about sort of, yeah, where do you store those, or at least we'll start remembering to take them. For us, I'm thinking actually a lot of those items can just be left in the back of the car, because yeah, 9 times out of 10 that's where we need them. We're going somewhere, so it's better for them to be there rather than actually inside the house. So when it comes to the caravan tyres themselves, I believe the recommendation is that anything over 5 years the tyres should be replaced, and before, if the tyre tread is below 3mm, and or if it's got signs of tearing actually within the rubber or bulging on the side. But again, I think you would know that by sort of visually inspecting the tyres to sort of say, actually, do they look a bit suspect or not? If the answer is yes, then realistically they should be replaced. But again, if you're getting your caravan service on a yearly basis, the engineer should be looking at the tyres as part of that service anyway and giving a recommendation about if they need to be replaced or not. The other place is probably where to start, is actually phoning your car insurance and actually find out what you're covered for in case of a breakdown. Do they actually come out and actually repair tyres and get you back on the road, or do they recover the whole caravan? Again, there's probably lots of questions in there that you just need to phone up and have those conversations with the supplier. They'll soon be able to tell you what is and what isn't covered. So the last thing you want to be sort of be in a situation that you have broken down and they won't come out and actually recover you. So definitely worth a 2-minute call to them and just actually find out what actually the situation is for you. There'll be people out there that don't have some kind of recovery as part of their insurance. So again, for those, you're going to need to think about, actually, do you actually have a spare tyre under the van or in the front locker, something to actually exchange it out with, if you're in the position that actually the tyre deflating hasn't actually caused more damage and it actually made it unsafe to actually tow at all. So again, some areas to think about there. And as I said before, where some of the newer vehicles don't actually have a spare tyre, they won't actually have the actual jacks and so forth to actually push the car up into the air. So again, things that you may be relying on, you might not even have until you sort of go to look for them and then actually discover that's the case. So something else that you need to think about in that aspect. What I did find out with our setup was actually the wrench that actually you use to engage the motor mover on ours is actually the same size, the 19mm socket that actually does the bolts on the caravan wheels themselves. So again, worst case scenario, you always use that to undo them and do them up. Yeah, like I say, having a proper sort of wrench to do that would be the preferred option, but there is that option if you need it. Now, if you are going to attempt to actually change the caravan wheel yourself, make sure that you keep the caravan connected to the car, just so again it acts as that stability and you don't find it actually sort of falling one way or the other when you're trying to actually repair the wheel. It just gives you that safety net that yeah, it's not going to fall on its ass and actually cause damage to the caravan. And again, you shouldn't really be using your steadies either, because again, that's not what they're designed for. But again, you can lower them in places if you feel like that's the the right position depending on the scenario that you're in, but hopefully by having it connected to the car you wouldn't need to use the steadies. So one of the first things I thought about was actually, I knew I had a triangle in the back of the van, reflective one, so again if it was of an evening, because again I'm not sure how long it would take to recover or repair the actual wheel, I could use this just to alert drivers that yeah, there is an accident ahead. And if you don't have one of these as part of the vehicle setup that you have, again they're quite cheap to buy on Amazon, so again with any of the things that I'm going to mention today, I'll leave a link in the description below if that's of any use. So the second item is pretty straightforward. It's just an umbrella, whether it's a small one or a large one where I normally would have a golfing umbrella. Just having something, if it is peeing down with rain, just to try and protect you whilst you're carrying out the repair. So the third thing would be some kind of jack to actually elevate the caravan, to actually get it to the level where you can remove the damaged wheel. Obviously doesn't need to be 5 ton, it just needs to have enough capacity to be able to lift your caravan. So obviously just think about the weight of that. Most of them will be under 2 tons, but again they won't, in terms of cost for this, they're all pretty much about the same. So getting a 2 ton or a 5 ton, it wasn't really much in it, so I went higher rather than lower. So yeah, have a look, but yeah, obviously you need something to be able to push up the caravan on the axle. So again you need to be careful where you're placing this, and if you've got a piece of wood maybe you normally put under the steadies, it might be worth actually putting that on top, just so again as it's pushing up, yeah, it's not going to damage anything else, but again something that you'll need to be able to lift it. So the fourth thing is just an axle stand. Now these are quite cheap and definitely worthwhile. So if the jack was to fail for any reason whilst you're out making that repair, this would stop the caravan from completely coming back down again. And then once you are happy the repair has taken place, obviously you can remove this and then lower the jack.
So to be able to get to our spare tyre, the caravan would have to be level to start with, because obviously to undo this and drag this out, if it was actually this tyre that had actually punctured, this would be facing down. There's a good possibility that I wouldn't actually be able to get this out the way to be able to release the tyre.
So as you can see, in terms of the Alco system spare wheel, it only comes from one side, and that is the passenger side. So if it was to actually happen on that side, it may be a case of, as I said, the caravan being lower, and I can't actually get to undo that and pull the spare wheel free. So again, that's where you'd need to have the jack and the axle stand in place before you attempt that. And also by having it connected to the car, if you are going to shake the caravan a bit, as you naturally would because you're trying to get that off, again you've got that reassurance of having those devices in place so the caravan doesn't then suddenly slip off and cause more damage. So definitely worth going through that procedures first before attempting to get the wheel off. So the fifth item that we've recently purchased is actually a tyre inflator. This is one from Wolfbox, and which I've tried and tested, and yeah, has been sort of brilliant in terms of what it's capable of doing, and actually got me thinking also about some of the other things that this would do over conventional tyre inflators. Now this is cordless, and obviously the benefit there is I haven't got to try and get the actual device plugged into something. Yes, you've got a 12 volt on your caravan or in your car, but the question is, will it actually reach? So you might actually have to take the tyre to that position to be able to inflate that. And you might be in a position where the tyre hasn't actually completely failed, it just needs topping up. So again, having a cordless one gives you that option. Now the other good thing with these devices are they come with a light as well. So again, if you are having to do a repair in the evening, you can see what you're doing as a result of that. And the other really important thing for me is actually this is a power bank as well. So if your phones are going flat, because you never know how long you're going to be at the side of the road for whilst you're carrying out repairs, you can charge your devices from this. So again, if you're looking to get recovered, or you're in communication with somebody going off to get a tyre or doing other aspects, again, it will give you that option just to make sure that you're not in a position where yeah, you end up with phones that you can't use. If you are interested in the Wolfbox, I will leave a link to that in the description below. I've also got a discount code for this if anyone's interested. But again, like I say, it comes with everything that you see here. You've got the charger if this was needing to be charged via the car, or the USB-C at home, and then I've got the options for the different things it can do. So again, you do have the car, motorbike, bicycle, custom. So again, this is around basketballs, and then the last setting is around sort of, yeah, customizing it to something else that you need. And then it's just got the usual sort of connection that would screw in. But yeah, so far a really good product. I've used that on the van and the Caravan, and it seems to work flawlessly at this moment in time. So yeah, no, really good product, so definitely worth checking out. And like I said, and I'll leave the links to everything that I've shown you today as well in the description, so again, it gives you a starting point if you're in the same position as I was. Right, yeah, that's it for this week's video. Hopefully it's been useful. Now, if you've got any comments, obviously please drop them below, because again, I've never actually been in a position where we've had a punctured tyre. So this is just scenarios that I've sort of played out in my head, and just making sure that, yeah, that there's different things I've got available to me if we're ever in this position. Now, we are covered as part of our insurance that we can get recovered if we were to be in a position where we weren't able to do something. But if I was on site and I had a slow puncture, I probably wouldn't call out recovery for that. I'd probably just get on and fix it myself. But at least I've got the tools to be able to do that going forwards. And as with anything, if you're starting to use your excess on your recovery more and more than likely that will go up as well. So for me, I'd probably get on and replace the tyre myself if I was in a safe location to do so. But again, love to hear your views on this, people that have experienced it firsthand. Please drop a comment below, and yeah, I will see you all on the next one. Cheers everyone.